sir, I need you to come with me, now.
I'm in the middle of surgery. This can't wait.
Surgery? You look like you're assisting. Hospital can spare you.
I'm the heart surgeon. I cannot leave this table.
Sure, everyone's suddenly important.
There's a patient open in front of me.
Not my problem. Turn around, hands behind your back.
Officer Hayes had no idea what he just walked into. In the next 22 minutes, a patient would die on the operating table. A $24 million lawsuit would be filed, and Hayes would lose his badge forever. The hospital worker he just handcuffed was Dr. Marcus Reed, one of the best heart surgeons in the country. Dr. Reed was 14 minutes into emergency heart surgery when Hayes barged in. Reed had done over 3,200 successful heart operations. His patients survived 98.7% of the time. When Hayes arrested him, Reed was literally holding a human heart in his hands. His patient had less than 6 minutes to live without surgery. And the operating room cameras were recording everything. Before I continue, let me ask you, have you ever been judged unfairly because of how you look? Drop your answer in the comments. But Officer Hayes had no idea who he was handcuffing. Dr. Marcus Elijah Reed was 41 years old. He was the chief of heart surgery at Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore, one of the best hospitals in America. Reed had been a doctor for 18 years. He got his medical degree from Harvard. Then he trained at the Mayo Clinic. He was certified in 2 types of surgery. Reed had written 47 research papers about heart disease. He created a new surgery technique that doctors around the world now use. He advised the U.S. Surgeon General on 6 different cases. For 4 years straight, he was named one of the top 50 heart surgeons in America. Reed was a father of 2 daughters. They were 8 and 11 years old. Everyone at the hospital knew him. He stayed late to teach younger doctors. He never turned away emergency patients. That Tuesday morning in March 2023, he arrived at the hospital at 5:47 a.m. His surgery was scheduled for 7 a.m. Dr. Reed was just trying to save a man's life. Now here's what happened next. Officer Derek Hayes had a reputation in the Baltimore Police Department. Hayes was 38 years old. He'd been a patrol officer for 11 years. He worked in the Eastern District. In 8 years, Hayes got 23 complaints for using too much force. Every single one involved black men. Not one complaint led to punishment. In February 2021, Hayes used a taser on an unarmed black teenager outside a 7-Eleven. The teen was just buying Gatorade. Hayes said he matched a description. The city paid the teen $85,000 to settle. In July 2022, Hayes stopped a black postal worker. He said the worker looked suspicious. The worker was delivering mail in a white neighborhood. The postal worker filed a civil rights complaint. In December 2022, Hayes was at Johns Hopkins emergency room. He accused a black nurse of stealing medications. Hospital security footage proved Hayes was wrong. He never apologized. The hospital staff knew about Hayes. They called him that cop. ER workers had an unofficial rule. When Hayes was in the building, someone stayed with black employees. 2 complaints about Hayes' behavior at the hospital had been filed with the police department. But on March 14, 2023, Hayes would cross a line even his department couldn't ignore. Type accountability in the comments if you think officers like this should be fired. Tuesday, March 14, 2023, 9:23 in the morning, operating room 7 at Johns Hopkins Hospital. This was a top surgery room. It had $2.3 million worth of equipment. The room was kept at exactly 68 degrees. The air was filtered to stay sterile. An emergency heart surgery was happening. The room had that controlled tension you feel during life-saving work. Heart monitors beeped steadily. Dr. Reed gave calm instructions to his team. 7 people were in the room. The patient was Robert Chen. He was 52 years old. His heart was connected to a bypass machine. At 9:11 a.m., Hayes responded to a call. Someone reported a car break-in at the hospital parking garage. At 9:18 a.m., Hayes saw a black man in scrubs walking quickly through a hallway. Hayes decided the man matched the description of the suspect. The problem? No description had been given. Hayes followed Dr. Reed to the hallway outside operating room 7. Hayes didn't see the signs. They said authorized personnel only and sterile environment, do not enter. Hayes pushed through the double doors. He walked right into the operating room. The entire surgical team froze. That's when everything changed. If stories like this matter to you, hit subscribe. Step away from the patient, Hayes said. Reed didn't look up. His hands were inside the patient's chest. Officer, you need to leave this room immediately. This is a sterile surgical environment. I said step away, now. Dr. Martinez, a surgical resident, spoke up. Officer, he's in the middle of open heart surgery. Ma'am, step back, sir, hands where I can see them. My hands are literally inside a patient's chest, Reed said. I cannot step away. You were seen breaking into vehicles in the parking garage. I've been in this operating room for the past hour and 14 minutes. Check with security. Yo, you match the description. Dr. Wu, the anesthesiologist, called out. His pressure's dropping. Marcus, we need to move faster. Officer Hayes, I need you to leave so I can save this man's life, Reed said. How do you know my name? You were here last month. You accused Nurse Williams of theft. Security had to escort you out. That's it, you're under arrest for obstruction. If you arrest me right now, this patient will die. Nurse Coleman hit the emergency button. Security to OR7, code gray. Dr. Martinez stepped between Hayes and Reed. You cannot do this. The perfusionist spoke up. Dr. Reed, bypass machine needs adjustment in 90 seconds. Hayes grabbed Reed's shoulder. Don't touch me, my hands are not sterile, Reed said. Hayes pulled Reed's arm. Blood from the surgery splattered. The patient's vital signs alarm went off. What Officer Hayes didn't know was deadly. Robert Chen's main artery was clamped. Every second without surgical repair meant permanent heart damage. Let me know in the comments what you would have done in this situation. 9:26 a.m. Hayes forcibly pulled Dr. Reed away from the operating table. Dr. Reed's gloved hands left the patient's chest. The heart-lung bypass machine kept running, but the surgical repair wasn't finished. Hayes handcuffed Dr. Reed. The sterile gloves were now contaminated. You just arrested the chief of heart surgery, Dr. Martinez said. I don't care if he's the chief of police, Hayes replied. Nurse Parks spoke up. He's one of the best heart surgeons in the country. He should have complied, Hayes said. Dr. Wu, the anesthesiologist, was furious. I'm watching a patient die because you couldn't wait 15 minutes. I'm documenting every second of this. Nurse Coleman had 22 years of operating room experience. In my entire career, I have never seen anything like this. You just killed a man. Dr. Martinez tried to help. I can try to finish, but I've never done this procedure as lead. Dr. Reed, talk me through. No talking to the suspect, Hayes said. 4 cameras in the ceiling were recording everything in high definition. Dr. Wu turned on his personal body camera. He bought it after a previous incident with Hayes. Nurse Williams was recording the patient's vital signs with timestamps. Hospital security footage showed Hayes entering the restricted area. At 9:27 a.m., hospital security arrived at OR7. Security Chief Raymond Torres spoke firmly. Officer, release him immediately. He's under arrest, Hayes said. You're in a Johns Hopkins operating room. You have no authority here. Torres called the police supervisor. He called hospital legal. He called the hospital president. At 9:28 a.m., Dr. Martinez tried to continue the surgery. Dr. Wu guided her, but the patient's blood pressure dropped to 60/40. His heart output was decreasing. We are losing him, Dr. Wu said. At 9:31 a.m., a police sergeant named Michael Rodriguez arrived. He looked at Hayes. What the hell did you do? I arrested a suspect. You arrested a surgeon during surgery. Hayes' face changed. He was starting to realize what he'd done. He matched. Get those cuffs off him, now. At 9:32 a.m., Dr. Reed was released. He rescrubbed his hands in 90 seconds. That normally takes 5 minutes. At 9:34 a.m., Reed returned to the operating room. He looked at the damage. Clamp the descending aorta. Give me the 50 proline. Sarah, suction here. The team worked in complete silence for 11 minutes. At 9:45 a.m., Robert Chen went into cardiac arrest. The team tried to bring him back for 12 minutes. At 9:57 a.m., Dr. Reed called the time of death. Officer Hayes was starting to understand how badly he messed up, but he had no idea that Robert Chen's family was in the surgical waiting room, and they'd been watching the security monitor. Wait until you hear what they did next. At 10:14 a.m., a lieutenant from Internal Affairs arrived. Her name was Sarah Okonkwo. At 10:22 a.m., an investigator from the state's attorney office came. At 10:35 a.m., the hospital president arrived with the chief legal officer. At 11:47 a.m., the FBI Civil Rights Division got involved. The Chen family's lawyer had called them. Investigators reviewed all 4 operating room camera angles. They watched the hallway footage. They interviewed all 7 surgical team members separately. They pulled Hayes' personnel file. It showed 23 complaints. 19 involved racial profiling. They checked the parking garage security footage. The actual suspect was a white man in his 20s wearing a black hoodie. Police found and arrested him at 10:03 a.m. They checked Dr. Reed's keycard records. He entered OR7 at 8:09 a.m. He never left until 9:57 a.m. Hayes' story fell apart completely. Hayes said he was chasing a suspect who matched the description, but dispatch audio proved no physical description was ever given. Hayes made it up. Hayes said the suspect was acting suspicious and wouldn't comply, but the footage showed Dr. Reed calmly explaining the situation 3 times before Hayes grabbed him. Hayes said he had good reason to suspect Reed based on his location near the crime, but OR7 was 450 yards from the parking garage. It was in a locked surgical wing. You needed level 4 security clearance to enter. Hayes himself illegally broke through security to get in. The Baltimore Police Department placed Hayes on leave at 10:47 a.m. On March 16, he was suspended without pay. On April 3, Internal Affairs recommended firing him. On April 18, Hayes was fired for gross misconduct, excessive force, and racial profiling. The hospital offered Dr. Reed trauma counseling and paid leave. He refused the leave. A full investigation of security rules started. Hayes was banned from all Johns Hopkins facilities for life. On March 15, the state's attorney opened a criminal investigation. On March 22, Hayes was charged with involuntary manslaughter, misconduct in office, and violating civil rights. Hayes stayed silent. He wouldn't talk to investigators without his lawyer. On March 16, he told the press, "I was doing my job. This is what happens when officers are second-guessed." On March 22, he pleaded not guilty at his court hearing. On April 5, the police union defended Hayes at first. Then they saw the footage. They withdrew their support. Dr. Reed went to grief counseling. He'd lost his first patient in 4 years. The surgical team was traumatized. 3 took medical leave. Robert Chen's wife Angela and daughter Emily demanded answers. Johns Hopkins issued a statement supporting Dr. Reed. But the consequences were just beginning. Someone in the surgical waiting room had been recording the security monitor, and they uploaded it to Twitter. If you're as angry as I am, hit that subscribe button. March 14, 2:34 p.m. A witness family member uploaded the video to Twitter. By 3:45 p.m., the video had 47,000 views. Baltimore activist accounts picked it up. By 5:20 p.m., it hit 340,000 views. It was trending #1 in Baltimore. By 7:00 p.m., local news stations made it their lead story. By 11:00 p.m. that night, 2.8 million people had watched it. It was trending nationally. By 8:00 a.m. the next day, CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News were all covering the story. By 9:00 p.m. on March 15, the video had 12.4 million views across Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube combined. The numbers were massive. Twitter had 12.4 million views, 890,000 retweets, and 2.1 million likes. TikTok had 8.7 million views across multiple reposts. Instagram hit 5.3 million views. YouTube news coverage got a combined 15 million views. Reddit had 6 different threads with over 45,000 comments. Dr. Jen Gunter, an OB/GYN doctor, tweeted, "I am shaking. This officer arrested a surgeon mid-surgery because of racism. A man is dead. This is what medical racism looks like." Activist Sean King wrote, "Dr. Marcus Reed is one of the best heart surgeons in America. Officer Hayes has 23 complaints for targeting black men. Robert Chen is dead because of white supremacy." Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez tweeted, "A black surgeon was arrested for saving lives. A patient died. Where are the Blue Lives Matter crowd now?" Baltimore citizens protested outside police headquarters for 11 days straight. The Baltimore Sun, Washington Post, and local papers covered it. The New York Times put it on the front page. CNN ran 72 segments in 5 days. NPR, CBS, ABC, and NBC all reported on it. Medical journals like JAMA and the New England Journal of Medicine wrote editorials about racism in medicine. Johns Hopkins issued a second statement calling for Hayes to be prosecuted. The American College of Surgeons condemned Hayes. The Baltimore Police Union defended Hayes at first, then their members revolted. The union reversed its position. Hayes' lawyer told him to stay silent. Hayes deleted his personal Facebook, but people already had screenshots. His past posts showed Blue Lives Matter content and All Lives Matter comments. 3 days later, Angela Chen filed a wrongful death lawsuit. She wanted $24.6 million. Comment below if you think that's enough or not enough. The lawsuit was filed on March 17, 2023. Angela Chen and her daughter Emily were the plaintiffs. They sued Officer Derek Hayes, the Baltimore Police Department, and Baltimore City. The claims included wrongful death, violation of civil rights, negligence, and causing severe emotional pain. They asked for $24.6 million. That broke down to $18 million for wrongful death, $5 million in punitive damages, and $1.6 million for emotional distress. During discovery, all of Hayes' 23 complaints became official evidence. Internal emails from the police department showed supervisors were warned about Hayes 7 times. Hayes' training records showed he skipped required bias training 3 times. Investigators found a pattern. 14 other Baltimore officers had similar complaint histories. None faced discipline. Hayes faced criminal charges too. Involuntary manslaughter carry D up to 10 years in prison. Misconduct in office carried 3 years. Violating civil rights under federal law could mean life in prison. In July 2023, a judge found probable cause at the preliminary hearing. In October 2023, a grand jury indicted Hayes on all charges. The trial was set for February 2024. In December 2023, Baltimore City settled the civil lawsuit to avoid trial. They paid the Chen family $18.5 million. They paid $2.8 million in lawyer fees. Dr. Reed filed his own emotional distress suit. He got $650,000. The total was $22 million. It was one of the largest police misconduct settlements in Maryland history. Hayes was banned from all medical facilities in Maryland. His name was added to a national police misconduct database. He couldn't work in law enforcement anywhere ever again. Hayes lost his certification to carry a concealed weapon. His police pension was taken away because he was fired for cause. He couldn't find any job. His name was too easy to Google. The criminal trial happened in February 2024. The jury took 4 hours to decide. They found Hayes guilty of involuntary manslaughter and misconduct in office. They couldn't agree on the federal civil rights charge. The Department of Justice is considering trying that charge again. Hayes was sentenced to 8 years in prison and 5 years of supervised release after that. He got a restraining order. He can't contact Dr. Reed or the Chen family. In March 2024, after sentencing, Hayes issued a written apology through his lawyer. He said, "I made a terrible error in judgment. I let my biases cloud my duty. I am deeply sorry. The Chen family rejected his apology. They said, he's sorry he got caught. Our husband and father is dead. Dr. Reed said, no amount of money brings Robert Chen back. No prison sentence gives his family what they lost. Justice would have been Officer Hayes never entering that operating room. Justice would have been a system that stopped him after complaint number 1. In April 2024, Dr. Reed held a press conference at Johns Hopkins Hospital. The Chen family stood with him. So did his surgical team and civil rights lawyers. Dr. Reed spoke directly. I've done over 3,200 surgeries. I've held human hearts in my hands. I've made life or death decisions in seconds, but nothing prepared me for being handcuffed while a patient died on my table. He lost 15 pounds after the incident. He couldn't sleep for 6 months. He's still in therapy. His daughters asked him, Daddy, did you do something bad? Reed continued, I have credentials, I have resources, I have support from my hospital, and I was still powerless to save my patient from one officer's racism. Imagine being a black nurse, a black orderly, a black janitor. How many times has this happened when cameras weren't rolling? He had a message for workers. You don't deserve to be profiled at your workplace. You don't deserve to justify your existence to someone who sees your skin before your skill. He spoke to the public. Robert Chen was Asian American. His death should matter to everyone. Racism doesn't just hurt black people. It kills patients. It destroys families. It breaks the promise that we're all equal under the law. Dr. Reed listed what he wants changed. All officers must take bias training. It can't be optional. Create a national police misconduct database that all departments can see. Fire officers after 3 proven excessive force complaints. Pass a federal law requiring officers to respect medical workers during emergencies. He thanked people. To my surgical team, you fought for our patient and for me. To the Chen family, your grace in this tragedy humbles me. His closing words were powerful. I'm a heart surgeon. I fix broken hearts. But I can't fix a broken system alone. That takes all of us demanding better. That takes refusing to accept that this is normal. This case shows a bigger problem. Black patients are 40% more likely to die in surgery when treated by non-black surgeons. Black professionals get stopped by police at work 3 times more than white colleagues. Officers with 10 or more complaints do 15% of all misconduct, but only 2% face discipline. 89% of black healthcare workers report racial profiling or discrimination at work. This case was different because Dr. Reed had power and resources. The hospital backed him publicly. Multiple cameras caught everything. The Chen family could afford top lawyers, but most cases don't have these advantages. That's the real problem. So let me ask you, do we accept a system where an officer with 23 complaints is still on patrol, still armed, still given trust? Do we accept that a man is dead not because of a medical mistake, but because a cop couldn't see past skin color? Do we accept that change only happens when there's video, when there's money, when there's media attention? Because if we don't demand consequences after complaint 1, if we don't admit that racism doesn't care about your credentials, then we're just waiting for the next Derek Hayes, the next Dr. Marcus Reed, the next Robert Chen dying while we all click share and move on. Comment below if you believe officers with 10 or more complaints should be automatically fired. If you think stories like this matter, hit that subscribe button. We're going to keep exposing these patterns. We're going to keep demanding better. We're going to keep fighting for accountability, for justice, for a system that protects surgeons saving lives instead of cops protecting their egos. This isn't just about one racist cop or one brilliant surgeon. It's about all of us. See you in the next one.